Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Fit Nurse Diaries podcast. Yeah, let's go. This one's going to be a little bit different because what I want to do with this podcast is I want to bring into the hot seat, like this is the hot seat right now over here. I want to bring in our coaches, and I want you all, whether you are in the program or you're just like trying to understand fitness or leadership and all this stuff, like people often think with people that have like look put together, that have their body in shape, all this different stuff, they think that they're just perfect people. They had really good lives. They didn't struggle with anything. They just like have it all together all the time, but it's not true at all. And I really want to break down those barriers for all of you to understand that people go through hard things and it makes us who we are. And I want to ask all the right questions for our coaches as well, so you can fall in love with them as I did in the journey, but also just be able to see from so many different point of views so you can take that home with you. Different perspectives can change how we feel about ourselves and the way that we think in the world. So without further ado, this is Ellie. She's amazing. She's been in here the longest in the Fit Nurse movement. And I want to just ask like quick questions we're going to run through. So I'm putting you into the hot seat, girl. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited.
Okay.
It's going to be good, guys.
Okay, amazing. All right, first question. Let's get right into it right away. What is something that people assume about you that they're completely wrong?
You know what? I think everyone thinks when they see me, like, you must have always been really strong. You know, you've always got it figured out. You know, you must have always been really confident because my energy's always here. But that's not the case. Like, let's roll the tapes back 15 years ago. I was 35 kilos heavier. I was terrified of a treadmill. I had never lifted a weight in my life, and I didn't know what a healthy lifestyle was. And I would never take a photo. Rolling back now, I'm loving photo shoots. I'm doing all the pictures. I'm cheering my girls on. I think, you know, you got to work on yourself over the years.
Oh yeah, for God's sakes, girl. And like that's the thing is like no one sees that version of you today, right? Because they're just seeing like where you're at right now. Mm-hmm. But you had to go through that. You had to go through the whole journey so you can actually help people be able to accomplish that. That's a massive amount of weight loss.
Yeah, I know. And it still shocks me to this day. And I think I had to make a change because I was that young girl that was like, you know, going out, being social, not wanting to be the yes girl, the party girl, the fun girl. And I think when you look in the mirror and you're talking to yourself negatively, that's when you know you got to make a change. You want to show up as your higher self. You want to feel good. And I think I learned that so early on. I'm very grateful that I did. But now I want to help other women do the same.
100%. 100%. I love that. Okay, so what is the hardest thing that you've personally overcome in your life? Like, we're not even talking fitness, let's talk you personally.
I think it's my health. I think it was about 12 years ago now, I had a pulmonary embolism, which for those who don't know, you may know because you're nurses. They know. I had I was literally 20 years old at the time, and I had a blood clot on each lung, the size of golf balls, and the left side of my heart was enlarged. And I was just at the start of my fitness journey, right? I was losing the weight. I was in a good routine. I was your regular 20-year-old girl going around the life. And I woke up one day, my heartbeat was like 150 beats per minute. I got checked out and I got seen quickly. And if I hadn't gone in that day to get checked, I probably wouldn't be here today. And I think that's when I was like, wow, you never know what's going to happen to you when you think you're good. And I just think implementing healthy lifestyle habits, that is what changed the game. And every day since then, I show up like living life to the fullest, doing what makes me happy, making others happy, and actually just living a healthy lifestyle. Because this 2.0, it's not part-time. You need to implement this for life.
Embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's wild to think about that you've come so far. Because what's your age now?
30.
Yeah.
And it was 18 when I had it then.
And that was 18.
Yeah.
So like in that moment, did you feel like it was going to be like over, like your fitness journey, your health journey, like your life?
Yeah, because like bear in mind, like I just went to the gym, like I was getting into weightlifting, all the things. I couldn't walk 10 feet without needing an oxygen tank. I had to learn to walk again. And a lot of people will look at that as a setback and think, oh, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to stay home and get better. I drove half an hour to the gym to walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. And I would build that up every week until the point I could lift weights again and build a routine. And I just think you've got to commit to yourself. And I was so headstrong. I was like, I'm going to fix myself. I'm going to do this. And I did. And I'm so glad. So
I love that. You come out the triumph. But as you know, I'm a very, very deep galley. I want to know the emotions. What did that feel like to go through, not just the pulmonary embolism, but having to walk again because you're young, but anyone can relate to that, rebuilding. What were these emotions that you went through during that time?
I felt lost because come on, you start your fitness journey, you start making progress, and a setback like that, most people would just want to give up. And I know that feeling, and trust me, there were a lot of days I didn't want to get out of bed, but I had visions for my life and I knew what I was capable of. And I think this is just a reminder, never give up on yourself. There's always a way, but I had no confidence. I was embarrassed because I was young. And come on, as girls, we hold pride, right? We want to show up as your best. And, when you post on social media, and imagine that, you're trying to learn to walk again. It was embarrassing. And not that you should be embarrassed, but naturally you feel that way. So I think you just got to step outside your comfort zone and say, you know what, I'm going to give it everything. And I did. And honestly, not quitting on myself was the best thing I ever did. And I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, girl, that's so amazing. Just hearing that back, because obviously I knew this stuff, but hearing it back and the feelings that you went through, the embarrassment, all the things. And I think it's such a big thing, for women, we want to just post the highlights and all those things. And when you don't have the highlights and you're just secretly behind closed doors, literally trying to rebuild yourself, that is so tough. And I actually think that's what makes you such an amazing coach. And this coach that is hey, no, when it is raining, we're getting the umbrella. We're going out. We're doing it. We're finding a way. And I literally feel that's because of what you went through. That's 100%. So amazing.
And in the UK, it rains every day for those who don't know. So you gotta go out the umbrella or you're not going out at all.
So you gotta get your steps in somehow.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, girl. Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's go to the next thing, which is, what is one thing that you've struggled with personally that now you're helping women be able to do as a coach?
Oh, do you know what? It's helping women talk to themselves kindly. I touched on this over our Miami event at the weekend. I think we're all guilty of it, myself included, even to this day. We're too easy to pick ourselves apart, right? We're too quick to pick out the negatives. When you look in the mirror, you'd be like, oh, that's not right. Or I don't feel great wearing this. Talk to yourself kindly, because would you talk to your best friend, your relative, in the way that you speak to yourself? Because if you
Absolutely not.
Cut it, right?
Absolutely not.
And I think everyone I spoke to this weekend were like, no, I wouldn't. And I'm like, talk to yourself that way. Even if you don't believe it, it's manifestation, right? Say it every day till it comes true. You've got to implement the habits. You've got to talk to yourself kindly, because if you talk to yourself in a negative way, you're going to just have negative outcomes. And the minute I spoke to myself in a good way, even when for probably 6 months, I was like, I don't believe this. I'm not into this woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it really worked. I am that 2.0. And you got to speak to yourself kindly, and you got to show up doing those 2.0 habits every day.
Yeah. I like how you said that at the end, because it's that's the thing that doesn't work, is just saying the thing. It's you have to actually build trust with yourself. 100%. And that comes from doing the action. So if you say you are this amazing person that shows up to becoming that fitness gal, but then you're not doing anything that's aligned with that, it's hard to believe it in our minds. But more and more you lay down the bricks every day, you create the wall, you embody it. So it's beautiful how you actually add it on the top of that. It's not just we say it. It's hey, we do what we say we're going to do, even when we don't feel like that's us. That's how you build identity. That's how you build real change.
You got to do the habits. The action's in the doing. You got to do it. You got to get up, show up, speak to yourself kindly, and the 2.0 will come.
It's coming. I love that. And that's going to be in another episode. We'll talk about that transformation, the 2.0, which is so incredible. So we literally only have 2 minutes left. So I want to know, hot seat, last question, biggest transformation that you've had with one of your clients. Walk us through what that was and why is it unforgettable?
There's so many.
I know, there is.
Okay, I'm going to go with Rebecca, because actually we just got a whirlwind update at the weekend. Rebecca has lost 80 pounds.
80 pounds.
Since started. But Rebecca's journey isn't as smooth sailing as everyone thought, right?
Yeah.
Rebecca started a year ago in July. She didn't start and in July straight away. Rebecca had a bit of a slower start for various reasons, but it just shows even if you start the program and you don't do the action right away, there's still time. Don't throw the towel in just because you didn't start on that day you signed the dotted line. And Rebecca showed up every day. She worked hard. She worked through so much and worked very closely with me and was communicated in such a beautiful way that we worked together seamlessly. We adjusted. We put the tools in the toolbox. We added new ones in. She came to Bali on the retreat, met all the other beautiful coaches, and in total, Rebecca has lost 80 pounds and she has transformed not only her life, but her family's life, those around her, her work colleagues. And it just shows you implement those habits every day. You show up for yourself, you're going to get the results. And Rebecca is breathing proof of that.
Yeah. For those who don't know Rebecca, like, can you paint the image of that journey? Like her age, like what she went through, like the things she had to overcome, because it's not easy to do 80 pounds. Like what is her characteristics?
So Rebecca, she is just beautiful. Rebecca is like 40s, 50s, and she's got a family, she's got children, she's got a husband. You know, she lives in obviously America. She's got a beautiful home, lots of land. She shows me photos all the time. So she's out there doing the yard work all the time. But Rebecca is a busy nurse. She is busy all day, every day. She does long shifts. But Rebecca gives so much to other people. You know, she's going to her son's concerts, you know, doing all the things, showing up for everyone all the time. But she still shows up for herself and she has her time. Her family know not to interrupt her in her workouts. She's like, this is my time.
Set the standard.
100%. And you have to set that with yourself. It's a boundary. And Rebecca literally shows up for herself every day and is giving absolutely everything. She has the boundaries. She meal preps for herself and her family get involved. They do it together. And I think just living that life, Rebecca has implemented it into her lifestyle, her home, and it's made it so much easier. And her husband is so supportive. So shout out to Rebecca's husband.
Yeah, he loves her. You can just tell. Well, one thing I will add to that story, because you identified her beautifully, but for those who don't know, she went through the hardest thing that you could ever go through as a woman, which is losing your mom.
Yeah.
And the reason why I know that is because I went through that, and she legit had like, also, I think her sister had cancer during that time. There was a lot of emotional ups and downs. It was not easy. There was so many moments she was writing in the chat being like, I legit like don't know how I'm continuing to go right now, but I'm like pushing because I'm choosing that better version instead of sinking myself in the hole. So it wasn't easy. Yeah. It was not an easy ride. She had to literally change who she was from the inside out, but she did that, and that's how you accomplish weight loss like that. And that's how you become a different version. It's not through the easy journey. It's not through the perfect journey. It's through understanding that life happens, but you can use that as your fuel. So yes, I want you to have proof right now, like as a person who also is a mom, who also works the shifts, who also has been through hard things, which we all do, and who also has, you know, many things that are always coming up, and the self-doubt and everything like that. Like, it is possible for you to get to a place where you actually feel good and you're embodying a better version of yourself. Like, she's proof of that, because you can look at us, you can be like, oh, they're in their 20s, like 30s, like it's all good. Like, they can of course do that because they're younger, but it's like, no, babe, like you can do it too, like no matter what age, because there's beautiful proof there. So amazing, girl. Thank you so much. Anything you want to add in before you go in the hot seat?
Just always show up for yourself every day. Just have that discipline and just keep envisioning your future 2.0. Even if you don't believe it, show up every day, because I promise you, if you remain consistent 1% better every day, you will get there. And we are living proof of that.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Ellie. She is the headstrong gal. Let it happen. Things are going to happen for you because we're putting in the work type of gal. So I love that. All right. Thank you so much. Send in the next girl to the hot seat.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Back in the hot seat is Catriona. She is one of our coaches in here. She literally has went through an incredible transformation, literally with me personally, working one-on-one in the Fit Nurse. And she started out like just really struggling, like literally the very beginning of the journey. Now she's a coach in here, and it's because she's had an incredible transformation. And I want to put her into the hot seat so you guys can also fall in love with her so much, and all the things that she's been through and all the guidance. So let's go into introduce yourself, girl, first. This is Kat.
I am Catriona, And I have been here for 2 years at the end of the month.
Yep.
It'll be 2 years.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Hot seat. Here we go. First question is, I want to get vulnerable really quickly. Okay. So what is something people assume about you that actually isn't true?
That my journey in here was perfect, which it was not. I traveled a lot. I went through a lot of family things. So I feel like my journey took a little bit longer than it should have, but I got to the end result.
So what were did you feel like in the journey that there was a lot of struggles that you went through?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
What were they?
In the beginning, traveling was really hard. I think I started the program and then 3 weeks later traveled to Scotland to stay with family who didn't quite understand. Well, I wasn't even understanding at the time either protein, and I couldn't work out while I was there staying in their house. They don't have a gym and they live in the middle of nowhere. So that was hard. So I just had to try and keep up with my steps and my water, and yeah.
I remember that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was many things in your journey. Like you've had the hardships, you've been really busy, you've started, literally when you started, it was like 6K steps, and we are like, let's just start you early. And you were like, how am I going to do this? And there was so many moments that you like messaged me and you're like, I don't see changes. And like, can I even get there? And all this stuff. But like, you are proof and embodiment of the 2.0 girl because of your journey. And it was never perfect, which is so amazing. And that's what makes you such an incredible coach, is because you've actually lived it, experienced it, but now you breathe it every single day. Like you're in there, you're doing the shifts now, you're doing this easily. Yeah. Like this is like the back of her hand. Like she can do this in her sleep. Yeah. Like, that's so cool. I love that. All right, let's go into the second question. So what is the hardest thing outside of even health and fitness that you've had to go through that you want to just like lay your heart on your sleeve right now and share with people that you had to overcome?
There are, like in my life in general, there are a lot of things that were hard and that I had a hard time going through. I was married to a emotionally and mentally abusive man who was an alcoholic, was threatened by the fact that I was going through nursing school. He didn't think I could do it. He didn't support me at all. In fact, tried to sabotage me a lot of the time. I had 2 boys. So when I graduated nursing school, I got divorced. But then I was now starting to start a new career with 2 little boys. And I was it. There was no one else out there helping me. There was no other parent. And so I was parenting completely on my own with this new full-time job. And I just put my head down and got out the other side, put myself last all the time. And then when that kind of eased a little bit, I could now do these things with ease.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it was, but I got a rhythm going and just lived my life. I met a man who I had known for years, and he was diagnosed with brain cancer. His wife left him, and he kind of leaned on me because I'm a nurse, kind of leaned on me a little bit to get through these cancer treatments and stuff. And our relationship grew, and we had a commitment ceremony because he couldn't get married. He wasn't legally divorced. So we did a commitment ceremony for our family and friends, and he died exactly 1 month later. So I went through that as well. And then me going now. I had a lot of really great friends from work that really helped me through all that. It gave me time off when I needed it, were there for my first day back at work after, who were there waiting at home to make sure that I could get through the shift. And if I couldn't, they were going to come in and replace me so I could go. Yeah, I've been through a lot. And every single thing that I went through, I was always on the back burner. So gained weight, wasn't into fitness, didn't watch what I ate. My treat after a hard shift at work was a bottle of wine. Like, I have been through it all, and I have done a complete 180
My God,
from
girl.
all of that. Yeah.
That hit me. I didn't know that about you, and that is so hard. I couldn't imagine like pouring into someone like and spending so much time with them and building something and building your heart up for love, and then have it just ripped away.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like, how do you come back from that to still decide to like keep going and having the resilience?
It was really, really hard. And I had a lot of friends behind me helping me through that. I was really depressed after, because that happened. And then my youngest son moved out. And so I had an empty nest thing as well. So I was really, really depressed. I wouldn't get off the couch. I would lay in bed until there was a reason to get up. And really there was, in my life at the time, I felt like there was really no reason. But honestly, I am the reason.
You are
I
the
should get up.
reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a beautiful saying, girl. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, seriously, you got me just like, whoa. That just like hit, because like I just felt all the emotion. I think so many people can literally relate to that so much. Like, going through such hard things. And I really think that that's like the number one thing as well, that like when people join like our program that we have, is once they've hit moments like that, and you either go two ways, which I'm really proud of you because you didn't go this way. You can either go the way of like, you're just going to like fall in the bed, gain all the weight, just stay there, which, you know, we're not judging anyone for going that way, because it like, that makes sense, like to feel that way. I've been there too. But then when you choose the other avenue of like self-improvement, choosing yourself, growing, putting yourself out there for love again, girl. Because I was like, was that Alan? Like, that's what I was thinking. And then you said that, like, you put yourself out there to love again after going through that. That is freaking amazing.
I don't think I put myself out there. I think it just happened.
But you still open your heart up to it. That is crazy. That's amazing.
I was happy and comfortable with myself. I did a lot of self-work.
Right.
And then Alan came along.
See, that's literally proof of like the hero journey. Is like you go through the hardest things ever. Oh my God, my heart is still broken. The hardest things ever, and then you come out the other side and there's a triumph. And that's literally you. That's so good, girl. That's so good. I'm not even gonna get through all the questions because I feel like the hot seat became like really hot, piping. But if there's anything that, or I guess I wanna know as well, because let's tie it back to coaching as well, like, what is your biggest like transformation that you've had with any of your girls, and like how did they get to that transformation? What does that look like?
I think the biggest transformation that I had with one of my girls was she was sort of in the same situation as I was. Her husband committed suicide though, and she felt really overwhelmed. They owned a bar together. She was still working full-time as a nurse. And then when he committed suicide, he left the bar to her. So now she had two kind of full-time things that she was working through. She lost weight, but she also blossomed as herself, realizing that she needed to put herself first.
Is this Lori?
And did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
She came in like absolutely terrified. The first call that I had with her, it was just like, can I even like do this? Like, is this a scam? As they say, scam. Wow, to see like that she blossomed in that way, that is absolutely amazing. I didn't realize that her partner committed suicide. That's freaking rough, girl. That's the thing, is like, I truly believe that every single person that goes to you, it goes to you for a reason. Is to give them the belief and the hope and everything, that sprinkle of touch of what you went through, to be able to help them overcome it. That is so cool. Well, thank you so much, girls. Is there anything you want to send off, like a message to any of our gals like watching this in the program or outside the program, like just watching this podcast that you want to give to them?
Yeah, it's not a scam. First of all.
Sorry.
And I think that this program is way more than a weight loss program. I think this helps women find themselves and blossom into not somebody new, but who they really are.
Who they're meant to
Who
become.
they're meant to be, yes.
Oh, that's so good. All right, girl. Thank you so much for being on the hot seat.
Welcome.
And I appreciate just everything you said and the vulnerability and everything. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, send in the next girl.
Okay.
Let's go. All right, and here we have Coach Maddie in the house. Let's go say hello to our
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Basically, hot seat, we're going to be running through a bunch of questions. I want people to get to know you and just your experiences just in life, like who you are as a person, because if people can relate 110% to that. So without further ado, first question, what is something that people assume about you that is not true?
I love this question. So I think when people see me, they see the golden retriever energy, they see the sunshine, they see the confidence, and they assume that it was always that way. And in reality, it honestly couldn't have been further from the truth. Like I think we are always so quick to look at somebody and assume that just what we see is how they've always been and that they got that and it must be nice. If I can have a dime for the number of times someone has said to me, oh, it must be nice to wake up and be sunny like her. It must be nice to be confident and to be bouncing around the gym or whatever. But it genuinely couldn't have been further from the truth for me. Even like a year ago, even 2 years ago, even 5 years ago, I was such a different version of me. Obviously, we all grow and we all change, but I used to be a shell of myself. I actually used to be like the Debbie Downer of the group. I was the one who saw the rain clouds on a sunny day. Like I really was that version of me. And it was really, really hard because we attract what we focus on, and what we focus on grows. So if you're constantly telling yourself like, why me? Why is it always me? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, you are just going to see more and more of that. But if you focus on actually, what is this teaching me? How do I get to show up today? Like, how do I get to move my body? How do I get to pour into those around me? How do I get to feel more confident? Like, it all grows. And so, well, I know we'll probably come on to it a little bit more, but through all the obstacles of my life, it took some real conscious effort to switch from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this and how can I carry that forward with me? And that grew into gratitude for everything I did have, and gratitude for everything I did have grew into action and positive action in my life. And from positive action in my life became confidence, because confidence comes from doing what you say you're going to do and building that muscle for yourself.
Straight up.
And facts. And that's the realness.
I love that, because you're actually talking about perspective shifts. You're not like it's 0 to 100 real quick. It's doing the actions, but it's also like it's the idea, the analogy of when you see, like, you get a new car and like say you got a new Kia Forte and now all of a sudden on the road you're seeing all the Kia Fortes because you're paying attention to it. So it's like what you pay attention is what actually manifests in your life, like 100%. You see over and over again. So if you're seeing yourself being like, oh, like it's raining, nothing good happens to me, all this stuff, you just attract that. But when you see, oh my gosh, it was sunny an hour ago in Florida and it's raining now, but it's gonna be sunny again. Like you start seeing the world from that lens, and then it literally changes like your neural pathways. And I freaking love that
and like,
so much.
Did you know that your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not?
Yeah.
So, and this is huge. So cool. Like, and this is literally what you're saying. So the voices in our head and the stories that we tell ourselves, our brain genuinely doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's not, but our brain's whole purpose is to set out to prove what it is that we're thinking.
Yeah.
So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I look like this, I feel like pants, I feel awful, like everything bad happens to me, like guess what, like that's what keeps showing up.
Guess what, babe? It's happening. That's exactly what you're going to manifest.
Flip it on its head, and it becomes an absolute superpower because you're like, right, well, I'm just going to gaslight my brain into thinking it's the best thing in the world. But guess what? It becomes the best thing in the world when you build that trust with yourself that you can do anything and that nothing is too much for you. Like, that's where it comes from.
100%. You are the creator of your life. It's not outside sources. People forget that. Like, it's you are it. So I love that. Okay, number 2. So what is the hardest thing you as a person have overcame? And we're not talking about fitness or anything. We're talking about like you as a person.
Yeah.
I want to know you.
This is such a big question. And if I'm honest, there's so many different things that I could say. Hard looks different in every season to every single person, but I have one trend throughout it all that I kind of want to come back to. So I'm one of the coaches here that was also a nurse. And I was a nurse for 9 years. I absolutely adored it. You know, anyone listening to this right now, like anyone who's been a nurse, you know that that's not just a job, it's your identity. And we put so much into that because we get so much out of that. You know, we will give everything to strangers on the street if we possibly can. Like, we can never underestimate how like the extent will go for people that we don't even know, then much more so for the people that we love. And nursing, though absolutely incredible, it really, really broke me in my early 20s. I was working 2 jobs. I was working as a specialist hospice nurse. I was also a COVID nurse. So I was working 70, 80-hour weeks. And when I came out of COVID, I was a shell of who I was then. But what was really sad, I think, is that I stayed there probably longer than I needed to in that sadness because I didn't know how to move forward. I didn't know myself enough to trust in what I couldn't yet see. So that's kind of the first piece. And then I rebuilt slowly through quite a few different, avenues, like what else can I do and all the things. But what's really interesting is then in a completely different area of my life only last year, I had a really, really awful breakdown of my long-term relationship. And that probably ended in the worst way possible. And likewise, I really, really struggle with that because sometimes in the rubble of things, of rock bottom, really, we don't even know what our foundations are. And both times, completely different scenarios. But I realized that beneath everything, I had no foundations. I had nothing that was unshakable. And when the chips were down and when I had nothing, I didn't know who I was. And the hardest parts of my life was realizing that. Because when you don't know who that person is, you don't know where to go from there. You don't know how to rebuild. But I will tell you, and I will tell anyone listening to this that, and I said it at the live event the other day, the best thing about rock bottom is it is the first place sturdy enough to build upon. So from that place, like if you guys are struggling right now, if you are so low, if you feel shaky, if you don't have those foundations, just know that you can build and you get to choose who that is. The hardest part for me, it wasn't the situations that happened for me. It was not trusting myself enough to move forward, even if I didn't know exactly how it was gonna go. Because when I finally started to take action, and notice how I say take action and don't, suddenly have a magic wand and think, oh, it's all going to be amazing. I just started to take the next right steps. I thought, I don't have everything figured out, but if I can just get up and wash my face today and, I can do that, then I can get a grocery shop in. And if I can do a grocery shop, then maybe I can set foot inside the gym again. If I can set foot inside the gym again, then maybe I can start running again. And then if I can start running again, then maybe I can feel more confident in myself. And one thing leads to another, And as I said, confidence comes from action, but so does rebuilding yourself and rebuilding your life. And I look back now, and we joke about this all the time, don't we? For so many of us, actually, within this team, that if we hadn't just taken that next right step, even if we didn't know how it was all going to pan out and how amazing it was going to get, like, we would never be where we are now, and we would never be coaching the girls that we do now.
Yeah, I think that that's so beautiful. And I really like what you said about the rock bottom, because people think the rock bottom is the worst. Oh man, I'm having a midlife crisis, like all this different stuff. But it's like, hey, like instead of it looking as that is the worst possible thing, like, hey, this is an adventure to rebuild who you are. Like you can be a new version of yourself, like even tomorrow if you decide to take different actions. So I love that you said that that's actually a strong foundation. And it is true, because imagine if you're building already from, you know, the house is already half built, but you don't actually like the house underneath. You can actually like just like take it down, like and rebuild something more beautiful. Like you are the creator of your life, and it's just by taking those actions.
And we forget how powerful we are. Like we can change at any given moment. And the one thing about rock bottom that I would say is actually it's not rock bottom that's the worst. It really is the step before, when things aren't as amazing as they could be, but they're not bad enough to want that change enough. So when people, you know, like when I've been in rock bottom and my friends are in rock bottom, and especially when the girls are in rock bottom, I'm like, I know you don't see this right now, but this is the beginning of your new life. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. So
you have to shed the skin.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to shed it, because girl, you're growing.
You're growing. Let's go. I love that so much. That was so beautiful. I'm going to go into the next question. So what is one thing that you've struggled with personally that now you coach women with? Like, why are you the perfect person to help people through that?
I think the answer to this kind of naturally follows along from what I was saying. I think women, it's not that we women don't know what we want, and it's not that we don't have an idea or a sense of what we need to do. I'm not just talking about fitness, I'm talking about in life, but I don't think we give ourselves the credit. I don't think we trust ourselves enough to follow through. But in not following through, we have nothing to lean back on in ourselves. You know, we have nothing to rely on ourselves. Like if no one else is around, if you didn't have a goal, like would you still be getting up? Would you still be working for yourself? Would you still be pursuing yourself? And that's something that it took me many years to feel as anchored in who I am now. And that's something that now I coach from. I think the coaches genuinely, but I especially speak of myself, I think we coach from the wounds that we have healed.
Legit.
Like for me, I know the consequences of inaction. Like tenfold.
Been there.
I know the consequences of what it is like to fall short of my own expectations, to fall short of my own goals and my own standards, and to be so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like this life is so short, and nurses should know that more than any other profession out there. So why do we not always run towards those goals? Why do we not always run to pour back into ourselves? And it's because we've been so conditioned to always look after everyone else first. So the fact that I get to help with, like, remind women that they deserve even like a tenth of the love that they give to everyone else. If they gave that back to themselves, they'd feel like the richest person in the world. And I know that with certainty, because the second that I did that for myself, everything in my life changed. Not one thing has not improved since going all in on myself, pouring a little bit back for myself, just keeping a little bit to pour into my cup. Everyone in my life is a happier version of them because I'm a happier version to them. Everyone in my life gets a better version of me. I get a better version of me. And I know, crucially, that when no one else is looking and it's just me, I'm comfortable being alone. I'm comfortable being with myself. And I love that I can trust who I am. So that's what I coach these girls on. And yes, that might start with fat loss, but it goes on.
It goes
over and over.
Way deeper than that.
Everything else, it's so much deeper.
It always is.
And I just have so many testimonies of girls who genuinely are flipping their lives over and rebuilding something beautiful that is so them, so aligned. And that's just incredible. Like, you come into a program to lose fat and you gain a life. Like, what?
That's so cool to think about. You come in here to lose some fat and you just like gain a whole new life.
You don't know what you're in for.
I know. I always say that on the onboardings. I'm like, you don't know what you're in for, but I already see the vision, and like it's gonna be crazy. Like, you're gonna change, your trajectory changes. And they're all like looking at me and they're like, we're like, whoa. They're like, I'm like, hold on, we're on the cart right now. We're going over to the Fit Nurse Island, burn the boat, like everything. And they're all just like, what is happening? But they're so in awe because they're like, I want this. Like, us as women, like we want so much more than just like, we want a whole transformation in life, and we want to believe that there is something better for us out there, and we have people, you know, like you that can guide them through that because you've been through these journeys yourself. And like, who better to do that? Like, we don't want to teach concepts that are textbook, that are like, oh yeah, so you're supposed to have like this amount of protein and this is great. That is the foundation of what we do. We're science-based, but we want to teach real life experiences through our coaches. So you have so much to give to these women, which is so beautiful. So is there anything else that you want to give to the women watching this podcast as a takeaway at all?
I would say that to anyone listening to this right now, I know that you've probably gone your whole life believing that you are the last person on the list. But just imagine, like, I also know that anyone listening to this right now, you would not be listening to this if you didn't feel somewhere in your core, in your heart, in your soul, in your gut, in whatever you believe in, that you are made for more, that you deserve more, that you can achieve more, that you can build more. And for whatever set of circumstances that led you to where you are in life right now, I promise you, like, it was all for a reason, and it was all building your character, your strength, your fortitude, your love, your empathy, your experience, your compassion, everything to fully step into your 2.0. And the best part is you get to choose who that is.
That's so beautiful. I love that, girl. Thank you so much for coming in, sharing your journey, everything. They have so much to learn from you, and I'm just so happy that you get to be with us as a coach in this whole journey and a part of this podcast. So let's go.
Thank you for having me.
Reel in the next girl.
See you later.
All right. We're reeling in the next guest. Let's go. Reeling you in. Elise, let's go. Hello. Okay, amazing. So if you've been watching the podcast for a while, you know Elise has been in here, but this is the hot seat. So we're going to be asking some questions, and I want all the details for you, girl. So if you want to say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Okay. Amazing. All right. So let's get into it. So I'm just going to be asking you some questions. So right from the beginning, what is one thing people assume about you that actually isn't true?
I think people assume that I have it very easy, that life's been easy for me, when the truth is I've actually gone through a lot, and I share that experience with the members and with the team. And I think it's, people don't always see what's happening internally. And so that's always been something, like, it's an assumption, like, oh, you're young and everything has to be fine and you're good. Like, there's nothing that you have to worry about. And I'm on the inside, I'm like, no, there's so many things. So constant work in progress. But yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. 100%, girl. Like, you go through so many things, like, as we all do as human. And I think that that's like what makes you such an incredible coach, is because you're able to share that with people and people can really relate. And that was a really big thing that actually happened this weekend, is that people were like, hey, like, I'm so honored to meet you, because like they got to hear the podcast where you were really vulnerable. And then they were able to be like, hey, I can be vulnerable too. Like, I'm accepted for who I am, because, hey, someone who literally is a coach in here, who's a leader, who's met their 2.0, has been through hard things. Oh my gosh, there's belief that I can do it too. And I think that's amazing, girl. It seriously is, even though it's hard.
Yeah, I think it happens for a reason. So, you know, everything in your journey leads you up to where you are, and being able to have that connection with them and to make them feel seen and understood too is definitely a blessing. So I love that.
Yes, that is amazing. All right. So next question, what is the hardest thing that you've been through personally, like outside of health and fitness, like you as a person, like, and how do you overcome it?
So the hardest thing for me was back in 2019. I had many years of being anxious and depressed and not feeling that I had self-worth, not having self-love, any of that, that I got to a point where I wanted to take my life. And it's not something I like talking about. And But at the same time, I want to talk about it because I wouldn't be where I am today if I had not hit that rock bottom. And I think it resonates with a lot of the members because I've had a lot of them open up to me and tell me about their struggles. And, you know, I know that I'm not the only one that goes through it, but sometimes you feel a little isolated. And when you're able to share that with others and they just comfort you and, you know, give you that, you know, just the reassurance, like you're meant to be here and like you have a purpose and, you know, and that's basically getting into this movement is what gave me purpose and fulfillment. So definitely come a long way from where I was. But yeah, I can say that's something in the past, but, you know, it happened and it, in the end, it gave me a good testimony to be able to share with others and connect with them. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, girl. Like,
Yeah.
I truly believe that people come into your life to be under your watch because of what you've went through. Like, I believe that. And you're going to take them and elevate people, even in this podcast, from understanding that, you know, you look good. You look amazing, right? Like, and you do have a good life. But it's like anyone can get to that place where they feel confident, have a good life, everything, even with going through moments like that. Because I think as women, the expectation is just so high nowadays. Of course. And like, we're just so hard on ourselves. But it's like, hey, no, babe, like we all go through hard things. Like, come on. But yeah, thank you so much, girl, for sharing that. I know it's hard to talk about. Yeah. Okay. Next question. So I want to know, what is one thing that you've struggled with personally, but now you can literally help so many women with your coaching be able to overcome it?
Oh, there's more than just one.
Yeah.
So I'll touch base on a couple and then I'll go into more depth of one. So one, obviously, I think being able to go through the anxiety and the depression and feeling low, I think that's one way that I have been through it. And I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I am always able to share that because a lot of the women in here have trauma. And you would never know it. Like, they keep it so locked up. And when you learn about it, it's just like, let me help you. Like, let me help you see what I see now. The other one, like basically nutrition wise, is I went through periods of overeating and feeling like I didn't know why it was happening, when if I was tracking, I would know. And undereating. That's a big one I notice with my girls, is they feel like they can't eat enough calories. And they're like, I'm eating too much. Like, that's too much calories. Like, I can't get that protein in. And I'm like, yes, you can. Like, I used to undereat as well. I used to fear carbs, but truly you need it. You need it as an energy source. You need to fuel your body. So I feel like that's like a more nutrition, like fitness thing that I've been able to help with and I can connect with.
That's so beautiful. Okay. I like it. And then the other question is, what is your women in particular that you've coached before? Like, what is the biggest transformation that they went on and how did they get there?
Yeah. So I would say Denise
Rush.
Yes, Denise Rush. So she came in at 148 pounds. She's 54 and she was already a little bit active doing like some climbing sessions and she really loved HIIT. But she'd never been coached before, and she'd never done like weight training. So she was really excited to start the journey. And when I say she started with a bang, she started with a bang. Like,
she was roaring to go
right from the start. Like, she just, it was crazy. She met her goal of 135 pounds within maybe 3 months.
It was really quick.
Yeah. And then she made a new goal to hit 125 and she hit 125. And then she made a new goal to hit 120 and she hit 120. And she's still involved in the program. And it was so amazing to see the transformation. And even her just talking about like, I never knew like taking away a little bit of HIIT and adding more weights and like focusing on that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And protein and logging food. Like, but she was like spectacular. Like, she was so coachable and she just absorbed everything. And I still check on her and I still get messages from her. So I really enjoyed that. And I just think it's such a good feeling as a coach to like see your girls succeed. Yes. It's like when they succeed, you're
want.
like, yes, you're like, this
like
is
the
what
triumph.
I've been praying for.
Literally.
Like doing a dance in the kitchen. Like, it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's literally the best feeling in the world. Like, because that's the thing is we're vision holders. And especially myself, I already see the vision because we've literally taken so many people down these incredible transformations. So when we don't see people fully get there, like we're like, hey, I know you're on the sidelines right now. Let's push you back to the actual road and then let's keep going. Because literally when you have that vision of them already, like I can already see, like when I onboard people, I'm like getting like, when I onboard people, I already can see like what they're gonna look like. I literally saw one of the girls like 2 days ago when I onboarded her. I was like, "You're jumping around the lawn right now." Like I'm like, you like that's the energy that you have. Like at the end of this, she's like, "Oh my gosh, like that's what I want to do. I want to jump around like and live life like fully and almost feel like a kid in that sense of like freedom." To be confident and to feel good. So we're vision holders. So when we see our women being able to actually accomplish that transformation, which they all do, okay, because we reel them in until they do. When they do it, it is the best feeling because it's completing a loop. And it's completing the mission that they set out to do. And we're those people that do it with them. Like, how good is that? I love that so much, girl. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Is there anything that you want to share to the girls that are watching this that, like, you know, aren't in the program that you just want to give advice to?
I would say taking a step to get a coach might seem like a big one and a little bit scary, but the truth is having someone to guide you and keep you accountable, but also care about your soul and you creating a new identity so that this is long-term, not just a short-term diet where you fall off. Like, I think it's one of the best decisions you could make. And even us as coaches have had coaches because it's important to be able to have someone else's perspective and just know that this movement is so much more than just getting your food and your steps and your water and your workouts. We want you to change from your core because that's what makes it lifelong. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah. And I feel like just watching this podcast, like, so you can pick up on so many different things, like from all the coaches here, just the different things that they went through that can help you on the journey. Because like not everyone is going to have the same experience. Like if I just did this podcast alone or even the journey alone in the Fit Nurse movement, like I'm not going to be able to relate to every single person, even though I want to, and I'm an empath. Every single coach has had their own journey that can relate back to their women and in particularly help them become their 2.0. So it's so beautiful, like all of you watching this, to be able to see the different perspectives from everyone and what they bring to the table to be able to help you on this journey as well. And I really hope that you took away some little snippets that you can, you know, really think about in the journey, because it's realizing that, hey, like us women as leaders, as coaches, as people that have already reached the 2.0 and are still moving towards, you know, the 3.0, like we all have been through hard things, but it's how you actually have perspective changes and understanding that just because someone has their life together, I was going to say something else, but I was like, no, we won't say that. Their life together does not mean that they just had it easy. Like, if anything, those are the people that have struggled the most, but have built the tools and the resilience to be able to come out the other side because they chose them. So you as well, you just got to choose you. And that's the biggest takeaway from this podcast. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And I can't wait to see you at the next one, and hit the subscribe button because, you know, you want to be alerted every single time one of these come out, because they're very strategically planned to be able to really help you in all elements of your journey. Because again, what I said in the beginning, change doesn't just happen from a meal plan and a workout plan. It is so much more in depth, especially for nurses. So keep on, you know, subscribing to see every single episode, never miss a thing, and drop in the comments as well, like your favorite thing that you learned from this. All right, see you next time. Let's go.